Good afternoon, Professor Rao.
Okay, we'll start the letters. Go on, others will join later. Okay, the final topic for the discussion, it does have around 38 slides. We'll try to finish off whatever is possible. Today's session is on the effectiveness, organizational effectiveness. What is effectiveness and how that aspect is understood in the organizational behavioral perspective. So when you speak about what is organizational effectiveness, normally effectiveness in the sense earlier people used to think effectiveness means what I decided, what I set as objective, reaching there is effectiveness, right? So almost all organizational behavior theories have the implicit or explicit objective of making organization more effective. Indeed, organizational effectiveness is considered the ultimate dependent variable, because effectiveness in the sense it may vary from what we call country to country, company to company, because effectiveness was differently coined by different management thinkers in early days of management development. But now things are changed. That is a different issue. We are resource crunch era of the world. So how best you utilize the minimal resources for maximum benefit, like Japanese what we call entrepreneurs in the 50s they thought of. Experts agree that this topic is burdened with too many labels. That is very important issue. Various in the sense, organization performance, success, goodness, health, competitiveness, excellence, and so on. So many are there. Only just for a sample, 4 or 5 components are given. But effectiveness is about all these things. Using minimum and making maximum out of those minimum resources. That is MC Shane and Gilnow defined the 2010. Also, they gave one more add further that long ago, organizational effectiveness was defined as the extent to which an organization achieved its stated goals. Suppose we need to reach 10% growth rate in this year, for example. This is the target. So if you make 10% growth, then that is achieved, that's all. But this is not going to be truly reflecting the capabilities of the companies many a times. If this is the example. See, for example, according to the view, Pixar is a Hollywood company, is effective because of it achieves its stated objective of producing animation features on time, on budget, and on target regarding box office sales. However, the goal attainment view contains flaws. That is, a company can be considered effective simply by establishing easily achievable goals. This is the problem. If they set a simple goal and easily achievable and they achieve it, they say that, okay, we achieved and we are effective. No. So, but in reality, the goals such as social responsibility to the community are so abstract that it is difficult to know how well the organizations have achieved them. This is very important point. So setting a small target, suppose running 100 meters and okay, I say that I achieved my target, but the companies need to look at marathons of 10 kilometers, 50 kilometers, 15 or 20, even 40 kilometers marathons also there in the world. So then marathon is taken up for 5 kilometers, for example. This fellow who completed in 100 meters running, that is not going to be meeting the 10 kilometers marathon in the future. That is what setting a simple goal and achieving it is not going to be treated as effectiveness in the current day industrial world. Sorry. Organizational effectiveness is defined with several perspectives of effectiveness. Like Organizations are considered effective when they have good fit with their external environment, when their internal subsystems are configured for a high performance workplace. So always if they're good fit for external environment, because when we look at organizations, no single organization survives in isolation. They must be interactive with the society, externally, internally, whatever the things we have. If we do not depend on external resources, there will not be any progress for the organization. So when they are learning organizations and when they satisfy the needs of key stakeholders within these four perspectives of organizational effectiveness, that is what we can say organizational effectiveness is achieved. There are different systems perspective, open system perspective, internal subsystem effectiveness, and learning organization perspective, and intellectual capital. These four, you can go through them in page number 65 to 67 in our study guide. So these four perspectives are defining what is organizational effectiveness and how that is going to be ensured in the organizations. Organizational effectiveness, which is what we can learn from open system perspective. In the open system perspective, what is open system perspective? That means open system that is open for everything, like internal and external aspects. The open system perspective of organizational effectiveness is one of the earliest and deeply entrenched ways of thinking about organizations. This particular view is dependent on diagram below, or depicted in diagram below. Suppose you take a so inputs normally raw materials and human resources, information, financial resources, equipment, etc. They come from outside of the organization because we depend on external suppliers and external environment are external to the company, that is society, to get all these inputs we require, and also feedback connected with. And we shall have some subsystems within our organization system, and we transform all these into outputs. And again, we are depending on the society. These outputs goes to the society, and the society accepts these outputs. So that is the reason why open subsystem, open system always, it is open to accept things from the society, external environment. They will process something within the organization or internally, and they again depends on the external environment to support this company by accepting these outputs by them. This is what open system perspective speaks about. The open system perspective views organizations as complex organisms that live within an external environment. That is what we live within the society. So that is the reason why the company lives within the society. So we always dependent on the external climate or industrial, what we can say, external socio-economic, what we call dependence externally from outside. What we look at the things from outside, because we depend on the outside aspects to make our activities what we call properly taken up. So just a minute, sorry, where is Rennie? Yeah. sorry, Reni is facing the problem, so I am just advising her. Okay, so when we come back here, when we look at this external environment, our dependence, our sustainability depends on the external inputs and supplies. As open system organizations depend on the external environment for resources and operate in a form of a cycle with the following interrelated characteristics. So, external environment, what we can say, external environment for the business. Normally, it provides resources or source of the both the natural environment, that is people, air, food, water, etc., and man-made environment like money, materials, technology, equipment, etc. External environment, because the open systems always they are open to accessed by open for access of anyone or anything from outside, and we depend on that. And inputs, sources received from the external environment, including raw material and employees and the financial resources, etc. Then process are numerous subsystems that exist within the organization, such as processes, communication, reward systems, and work units, and social dynamics, and so on and so forth. Then outputs, that is when we are processing something and sending outside as output, these are finished products or services that are discharged or fed back to the environment, be valued by the external environment. And feedback always from both sides. From the input side and output side, we will have feedback. From input, those for supplying from the society to the organization, like raw materials and finished good, raw materials and components, and what we call money, materials, and so on and so forth. We give feedback for them whether the inputs which we receive are qualitative or not, and the quantities are sufficient or not. These all we can communicate always. So the organization receives feedback from the external environment regarding the value of its outputs and the availability of future inputs. You take, for example, certain examples are given here. According to the open system perspective, successful organizations monitor their environments and are able to maintain a close fit with the changing conditions. So, surroundings, the environment around the organizations or corporations will be dynamic, and they are always getting changes. So, when external environment is changing, we must make ourselves to align with the changes in the within the economy, and so we need to dynamically change to catch up the changes in the environment. It is like a human system. Normally, when the temperatures coming down, our body slowly what we call accustoms itself to the temperatures going down. That is one example I can give. And the corporations also must have their look at their what we say abilities to adapt to the changes in the society. One way they do this is by finding new opportunities to secure essential inputs. But sometimes, for instance, many fast food restaurants struggle to find enough employees. That is the reason why they are importing, they are bringing from outside. To ensure that it has enough qualified staff, McDonald's, I hope you all know that biggest, largest food store chain. McDonald's restaurants were among the first to recruit retirees. At the same time, more recently, McDonald's UK introduces family contract. That means they give a contract for entire family for 1 or 2 employees, for example. So any family member of that contractee can come and work in the store based on their flexibility. There is no need to inform the manager every day, not necessary. An employment arrangement that allows members of the employee's family, spouse, grandparents, and children over the age of 16 to swap shifts without notifying management. This is a innovative aspect because suppose grandfather is idle, for example, and capable of doing, at McDonald's, Only thing is they have to serve, give the service. So they serve the food from the machine to the customer. There is no need of, they don't ask, McDonald's never ask any employee to shake the mountains. No, there is no such thing. So anyone can give the service, those who are competent in the family, based on their what we call free time, they can serve. That is what family contract speaks about. This is an innovative thing. I am surprised by reading this for the first time. Successful organizations also redesign outputs so that they remain compatible with the demands from the external environment. So this is what food manufacturers have changed their ingredients to satisfy more health conscious consumers. You can say, for example, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Coke, Diet Coke. These all just to create their space in the market by providing certain products for the food lovers. Then second perspective is internal subsystems effectiveness. The open systems perspective considers more than an organization's fit with the external environment. It also examines how well the organization operates internally. Because, suppose Mr. X, you take, suppose you take a Russian fellow who is 6 foot tall and very composed, texture of the skin and, very fair looking, everything. But if suppose he got problem, externally he's very excellently looking, excellent look up, but internally suppose that fellow have some heart problem. Then what best external look will not be good for the person if that fellow have a heart problem. That is what internally one important organ is not functioning well. So in such cases, you cannot do anything. So that is the reason why how externally how things appear, how best the things appear, it doesn't matter if the internal things are not properly coordinated. So how well it transforms how inputs into outputs. That is what is the strength of the process, how best they procure the inputs and how best they process and how best they add the value to the process and inputs and how best they make sales. That is all. It depends on the organizational efficiency, also called productivity. Effectiveness depends on the internal efficiencies of the organization, which is the amount of outputs relative to inputs. So per X units of input, how many times of output you are making? Whether you are making X units of input, are you making X plus 1 or X square input outputs, whatever, that depends on their efficiency. Companies that produce more goods or services with less labor, materials, and energy are more efficient in the perspective of the business organizational effectiveness matter. So a popular strategy for improving efficiency in the transformation process is lean management. This is very, very popular. Lean management is the best practice ever introduced by the Japanese, and especially Toyota introduced a lean manufacturing system, Toyota manufacturing process. So Toyota Motor Company, lean management involves continuously reducing waste, unevenness, and overburden in the production process. So always, instead of increasing the productivity, how you reduce the wastage. Every unit of wastage you are reducing, it may add profits for your company. Take, for example, an Indian context, there are around 7 to 12% of power lost while transmission. That means transmission lines are not effective. So the government is putting efforts to minimize the loss in the transmission of the electricity, so that if they bring down from 12% to 10% of the loss, I'll transfer transformation of the what we call transmission of the power. If they reduce it by 2%, they can save per annum almost $10 billion. Imagine $10 billion of wastage will be reduced. So this wastage reduction of 2% automatically adds 2%, that is a 10 billion profit for the power companies. That is what, when we speak about how do we minimize the wastages and how do we establish even production so that unevenness will be going down. No ups and downs. High production on Monday, very low production on Tuesday. No, not like that. Every day same, consistency. Waste takes many forms such as excess travel of the product or service through the production process, too much time during which the work is sitting idle, waiting for the next step in the production, too much inventory. This is very dangerous. Storing too much inventory will be making a lot of inventory, but loss of the amounts on the inventory storage and too much employee physical movement. Everybody is moving everywhere without doing anything. That is useless again. And too much finished product without a buyer. It is not that you just manufacture the goods and you just wait idle for the customers. No, that is also not good. So lean management also involves minimizing situations in which people and equipment are overloaded and smoothing out the production process. This is what a lean management system speaks about. So this is an innovation from the Toyota, so that they are in last 75 years or 74 years, except this Corona time and in 2008, they never made any losses. In the 70 years, consistently they are making profits every year because they are very cautious about how to minimize all the wastages, not only material waste, but wastage of the time of the employees and so on and so forth. Efficiency, also the efficiency does not necessarily translate into effectiveness. Always that is not necessary. Efficiency is about doing things right, whereas effectiveness is about doing the right things. This is a very, very important point. Doing things right means you do the things right, but not right. That may not be right thing. For example, a company might be highly efficient at making a product or providing a service, but it will be ineffective if no one wants that product or service. This is what effectiveness it speaks about. When I manufacture a compact disc today, I made a very excellent compact disc, ultra modern, very excellent when comparing the other compact discs which were existing earlier. But today you cannot find any customer using compact discs. All flash drives and external drives are the storage devices ruling the world today. So how best it is, how great the product is, but the users switch it to some other modern product, you cannot make anything. That is not useful, wasting the resources. So when you look at organizations often need more adaptive and innovative transformation inputs into output, not just more efficient ones. For example, reflect on the following statement: whether I have additional costs or not does not matter as much as the speed to market and the quality of the design. Said by Siemens executive. We are not talking about a first cost game. So this, you see, when you look at the statement, whether I have additional costs or not, but speed to market, how best and quickly you make the product available in the market where customers are ready to accept the product. Transformation process is how well the organization subsystems coordinate with each other. The more each subsystem depends on other subsystems, the higher the risk of problems that undermine the transformation process. So when you look at a transformation, you may have different subsystems within the organization. Subsystem 1, 2, like this, right? Process may be moving. If suppose it is moving from here to here and here, like this. But if it is independently moving, then things are different, easy. But if this subsystem is depending on the previous subsystem, there may be a chance that if this subsystem fails, all the subsequent subsystems will be failing. So that is what the problem, if the dependence in the subsystems is very heavy. So we must coordinate very properly those subsystems and make the subsystems properly running. Please go through the study material for this. Then organizational learning perspective, learning. The open systems perspective has traditionally focused on physical resources that enter the organization and are processed into physical goods. This view, according to MC Shane and others, was representative of the industrial economy, but not the new economy, where the most valued input is knowledge. Today, the olden days process has been given up, and now knowledge-based societies are coming up. So now the knowledge, innovative information and knowledge is a key for the success of any organization. Knowledge is the driver of competitive advantage. However, in the organizational learning perspective, also called knowledge management, through this lens, organizational effectiveness depends on the organization's capacity to acquire, share, use, and store valuable knowledge. So this is what, see, recently, this Wuhan virus made so many companies to come out with innovative solutions for various, like for example, touchless ATMs came in India and some other European countries. Touchless ATM, because in the ATM, because this virus maybe when everybody is operating the keyboard and pressing a pin code and amount, etc. If any symptomatic fellow also uses the same board, the virus sitting on the board and it will be transmitting to somebody else who is using the board next time. So to avoid that, contactless, you just go with a debit card and just scan the debit card on the scanner fixed to the what we call ATM, and it will be asking some questions verbally. You can respond for them, and then later on, even if you want to draw 100 kina, you can say 100 clearly. It confirms you want 100 kina, then you can draw that after getting certain, just contactless information for that. So this is innovation. Only knowledge society today, the hard work has gone. The days of hard work has gone, and now things are smart work and knowledge work. Some of the important ways in which knowledge is acquired, shared, and used for explained following from the mark of MC Shane. Knowledge acquisition. So knowledge acquisition, always experimentation, reading, voracious reading and all, occurs when information is brought into the organization from the external environment. See, for example, marketing research. A company wanted to manufacture a new product for which they need information from the society, what kind of product the customers are expecting. So that knowledge will make this company to innovate a new product. This can include hiring people, acquiring companies, and scanning environment for the latest trends, etc. Suppose recently, one engineering student gone for what research, and he wanted to provide solution for the women who are vulnerable for this, abuse and attacks across the globe. Of course, it is not no country is exception for that. So they simply, that student simply collected the information and he prepared a jacket which externally static electricity will be stored, and internally that girl or women who wears it, there is no effect for that lady or girl. If anybody touches, it will give the current electricity shock to the fellow who touches. So this is knowledge from the society. They collected and that fellows made one innovation. This is what knowledge acquisition, knowledge sharing, and knowledge sharing from different organizations, researchers across the globe, and knowledge use, the application of the knowledge for organizational processes and innovation. Knowledge storage, documenting the knowledge and storing them for the reference for the further managers and future requirements. An interesting dilemma in organizational learning is that the ability to acquire, share, and use new knowledge is limited by the company's existing store of knowledge. That is important. So how dynamically they are adding the knowledge, that best the knowledge bank, knowledge data will be pulled up. Intellectual capital, the stock of the organizational knowledge. So knowledge acquisition, sharing, and use represent the flow of knowledge. The organizational observative learning perspective also considers the company's stock of knowledge, called its intellectual capital. So an organization's stock of knowledge includes human capital, that is what research scientists and employees, skilled people, etc. comes in the knowledge, stock of knowledge. Structural capital, this includes the knowledge captured and retained in an organization's systems and structures, documentation, etc., etc. Relationship capital, this is the value derived from an organization's relationship with the customers, suppliers, and others who provide their added mutual value. When the good relations are there with the customers and changes required, the customers will inform back to the organization so that they can modify the products or processes. Organizational memory and unlearning. Corporate leaders need to recognize that they are the keepers of an organizational memory. This unusual metaphor refers to the storage and perseverance, preservation of the intellectual capital. It includes knowledge that employees possess as well as knowledge embedded in the organization systems and structures. Normally, it includes documents, objects, and anything else that provides meaningful information about how the organizational capital or organization should operate. So we have 6 minutes time from here. Why this Rennie is facing problem? I do not understand.
I think she's clicking on the expired link.
That may be the problem. That is the reason why I sent again today morning also. Sorry. Okay, we are finishing this session in 5 minutes. Do we continue again for the remaining slides today and we close the lessons, or will you go through the remaining content? Please let me know. Hello. Hello.
Hello. So are you trying to start a new Zoom session for the remaining slides? Is that what you mean?
Can we go with another session?
So make it the last and we can complete it.
Okay. So please go through the study guide very meticulously. I am unable to go through remaining slides. There are a few slides again. but these are extracted from the study guide alone. There is no special in these slides. Go through the study guide meticulously and get prepared for the quiz on Saturday. And the quiz will be open at 001 in the morning, midnight, around 12 o'clock, 1 minute past 12 o'clock in the morning, and night 11:55. It will be available any time, 2 hours. That means you can start at 12:01 in the morning, midnight, or and any time between 12 o'clock to 10 o'clock, because you must have 2 hours before closing the quiz. So the questions will be different questions are there. You just go through those questions, and it is open book quiz. You can do the quiz with open book. So, okay. Any questions, please?
Can you just touch a bit on the case study, which is due on the 30th of December?
Yes. Clear instructions are given there in the assignment. Your organization, you take your organization as example and explain all various behavioral aspects which you observed, and you just make a case study of your organization and explain things and put in a format of a report, and you send here, you upload. Make it quickly, earliest possible. Don't wait till the last minute. Okay.
And the quiz will be based on all the sessions we covered?
Yeah, what the quiz will be covering all the what entire study guide,
Okay.
Okay. Elijah.
Okay, thank you, Professor Rao. Yes.
Okay. So you access the quiz on Saturday morning, morning till afternoon, but in midnight. But don't open at 11 o'clock and say that that is 11 o'clock night and say that, oh my God, I did not get the time. No, I don't give any exception. No excuse for that. You must start the quiz between midnight Friday, midnight 12:01, between 12:01 Friday night and 10 o'clock night on Saturday. Right?
Okay, message.
Okay, so Professor,
okay, thank you, Professor
there is no more Zoom session after this?
Yes, please.
Confirm there is no more Zoom session until the quiz.
I did not get.
I'm just saying, confirm there is no more Zoom session after this, or are we having one more before the quiz?
No sessions. Just go through the study guide.
Okay, thank you then.
Right. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.